Welcome in Line by Line. Today I have a special guest, Karl Linder, and
Thank you.
he's a writer, musician, poet. Actually, a long list of labels. I will provide the links below, guys. Just check it out. So Karl chose a song right there by Karl and Mia Dyson.
That's right.
Please check it
Me
out.
and my wife. Yeah, please do.
So,
Okay.
Karl, why did you pick that song?
Why did I pick that song? I picked it because that was the one you suggested. And then I also looked for other choices and I couldn't think of it. I couldn't find a better one amongst the songs that we have released so far. I couldn't find a better one. We've got an album that will be coming out probably next year, hopefully this year, that I'm very excited about. And it's my favorite album anywhere. I'm probably prejudiced, but yeah, but I can't wait for that one.
Right there. I
Right there.
know Mia also gave an interview in the past where she talked about how she got her inspiration from her husband's poetry. I actually read the article, did my research. What really stood out to me, she's Australian who moved to US. You guys met in US?
That's right. Yeah. And yep, I saw her at a cafe and introduced myself. And we didn't start writing together for about 3 years. And we tried a little bit, but to start writing, and then it just didn't go anywhere. Like we were just like we're both too sensitive and defensive, and it's just not. We should stay married instead. And but then thanks to Marshall Rosenberg's nonviolent communication, which I know you're interested in as well. Yeah, that's what really turned it around. Like I was able to, I don't know, hold space or just be present and allow Mia when we had differences of agreement, when there would be heightened emotions, instead of doing what I used to do, which is go like, okay, people are upset. I need to calm people down. All of a sudden I was able to just allow things to happen, be upset and not act on it, but just recognize that, just like in the poem and the song right there, like right there is the opportunity. This is why we're here, is to write about life. If we were just writing about being comfortable, then what are we doing? Like it's there's nothing there. Like the obstacle is the solution. The obstacle is the way. The problem is the solution. If I didn't have any problem, I wouldn't even notice being alive. So that's what the song and the poem are about for me. Yeah, I hope other people get something out of it as well. But for me, they remind me that when I'm like this cannot be happening, then if I can pay attention to the qualia that's going on, like how do I know what's going on? I've got sensations, I've got visual, I've got thoughts. This is what's presenting. Like I have an opportunity to be me. I have all the adventure I want. This is what I wanted, adventure. But just for a moment, I was denying it for a moment. But if I can just say like, oh, this is it. This is the next thing I need, then it's so far it hasn't killed me. And it's always been something that leads to the next thing as the wheel of fortune goes up and down.
As the time goes by.
As the time goes by.
That song started from your poem. And I would really love to hear the original first before we dive into Mia's interpretation.
Thanks for asking. Yeah, thanks. I'll do it. Now, right there. I know where. I wish I had the spark of the three Cohens. That's where it is today. I know where. I wish that I wrote this for millions of fans and dollars. That's where it is today. I know where. I wish my words were being sung by champions for ages. That's where. And I know how. As any little shame or fear or anger spells it. That's how it comes today. I know why dissatisfaction satisfies. And I know why dissatisfaction satisfies. This day it does. What it is what comes by these means. Wanting is being as close to having as I'll ever be.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
No, I'm not sure I understand that poem. Thank you. Like it just means some new things to me.
Art.
It's got some ambiguity for me, but it still brings me to that place we were talking about. Just reminding me to be at the center of the circle of the wheel of fate as it goes up and down. That's not me going up. That's not me going down. That's me watching.
An observer of your life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I liked the part about 3 Cohens. Of course, brothers
Mm-hmm.
Cohen.
The Cohen brothers, yeah, and Leonard
Yeah.
Cohen.
Yeah, Leonard Cohen, amazing musician. Again, we analyzed like 2 or 3 of his songs, actually. The thing is that brothers Cohen, like in all of their movies, everybody dies all the time. So whatever wheel of time, wheel of life brings, at the end, everybody ends up in the same place.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was thinking how peculiar it is, because each time I hear Cohens, like it aligns with mortality somehow. Like everything is finite, and they like make the best out of the time you have right here. And so that was interesting for me.
Yeah, they're so the Cohen brothers to me seem so powerful because I have no idea how they're doing what they're doing to me. Like I watched the Big Lebowski, I'm like, how can they justify any of these lines? Like I don't understand how how this is so entertaining. The first time I watched it, I thought I didn't like it because I thought I was going to be watching Kingpin with Bill Murray and Woody Harrelson in another comic. It was just another. It was a wacky movie. It was a very funny movie. Bill Murray is awesome, but I had just gotten out of the military and I was reading way too much and had drank the Kool-Aid of someone else born in Russia, Ayn Rand. I'd been reading way too much of it, and I was just like, things have to make logical sense. If my left brain can't sign off on it, then I'm not gonna say it's a good thing. And then I got beaten up a little bit by life, got some more willingness, and I watched The Big Lebowski, and I thought, oh my gosh, I know what this movie is about. It's about me. This is about Jesus Christ and me, and I don't know how it is, but they're so powerful, and there's a in me, there's a not that I sometimes there's an imbalance of wanting power for its own sake, and an instinct that if I let it take over, it just ruins everything. And I wish I had the spark of Cohen so I could just go have power over people's perception like they have over mine, and have the magic that Leonard Cohen has, so that I can influence people. And I realize, if I examine it, that it's just something that this is just life working through them. And that's as good as it gets for them. They're not in any better position than I am because I've got life working through me. And so the spark that really matters is just this one, this wanting to, wanting to be better and just doing things imperfectly, but doing, yeah.
I always thought that Leonard, he kind of spoke the truth. Like in Alleluia, I tried my best, but it wasn't much. And he said that. I was like, "How that actually relatable." And people, and that's what you said right there. In Big Lebowski, you recognized yourself. Truth, relatable things, things that do not make sense at the end when you turn around.
Yeah.
And it feels like life will deliver the punchline later on.
Interesting. I have fear. When I heard you say that, I felt like a thrill of fear, like, oh, I missed it. I like I sometime life is going to show me that I was wrong. That's just the first thing that popped up was this fear. Probably not how you meant it, but that's what it brought up in me.
Not wrong. Life will show you why everything made sense. If you don't yet have it now, this means it will come.
That's what my fear is. That say that again. If you don't yet have it now, it will come. If I don't have the answer, that
if you do not understand certain things about, if they don't make sense, this means the punchline was not delivered yet. Why it had to happen to you, everything. And it's like, oh, that's why now it makes sense. Like if you have this aha moment, kind of this catharsis at some point, now I get it. Like,
absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Something to look forward to.
Well, that seems to be a matter of faith, because there's sometimes, like it's for some reason, like this moment is the punchline for some other thing that's been set up. Every moment is the period on, that's just where my life is writing itself out. And I for some reason, my mind puts a special emphasis on the last moment. The last moment I'll be alive. And for some reason, I'm like, I have fear that I will not have the grace to accept it as good, whatever punchline that is. And the fear that came up is a little bit of what seems to be quelled by the ideas that came out in this poem. That this is my opportunity right now to practice dying, to practice just saying, yep, this is a good thing. But that I've got this neurotic, I don't know if everybody has it, but I've got this neurotic fear about that. I don't know if I was coherent in that.
Makes sense. It's very human. And again, it's very relatable, actually. A lot of people go through this in different form and shapes, but we kind of all have the same thing.
Yeah. We should talk to people more.
Well, luckily, there is
luckily we're talking right. Yeah. Well, thanks for talking to me now. This is good.
Thank you for being here.
Right there, you know where. You wish you had the spark of Cohen. You wish you had the line unbroken.
Wow.
Well, right there to me just means like right here, whatever my attention is on, whatever my awareness is on, that's connected to all the tragedy and all the triumph. And this is the only moment that I can make meaning. And I, where like I'm talking to myself, like this is a sense I've had. I've always wanted God to come and save me and give me meaning, or other people to give me meaning. Not always, but that's something that I've fallen into. And, but I know that it's my responsibility to say yes right now to what's going on. And a yes right now is a yes to the past, because that's what the past added up to, is right now me saying, yes, this is good. And what bad thing could come from something good? So the future is also taken care of if I can say right now, yes. And my connection to that is the qualia by which my experience comes to me.
I'm interested about the line, you wish you had the line unbroken.
Yeah, I wish I had, my left brain wishes that, I could write my story and just re-edit it and re-edit my whole life so that I came out as the hero, and everyone, and everything was just right. And it is true that I can do that right now, but not in my left brain's sense of doing things. My not the way my left brain looks at it. My left brain wants to do it linearly. And I wish I had the line unbroken. And right here, right now, I do have the line unbroken.
Unbroken.
Like, it's not the left brain, is the dividing side of my mind. And, it's the masculine, it's the one that grasps. And and that would break, like it wants the whole line at once. Like it wants to control the whole line, and it wants to say the specifics for how things look and then it'll say things are good. I'm not talking cohesively here, but the right brain sees the whole thing. And if I can be in approval of this moment, in radical approval of this moment, I do have the line unbroken, and I have the spark of Cohen. Like, I have the thing that he was trying to give me with his music. I have it. What would me writing music and helping other people give me? The song is an artifact of what he went through getting what I have right now. Because if I can have radical approval of this moment, then I live at the center of a glorious, benevolent universe. And writing a song about it, so having the spark of Cohen, in the sense that, oh, people are like, oh, you're an awesome writer. That has nothing to do with being at the center of a glorious, benevolent universe.
Understanding that right now you are already in the center of glorious universe. It all comes together
with my radical acceptance, yeah, or my radical approval. And just go, yes. Yeah.
Interesting. It's like the line unbroken means I'm in control.
Yeah, I want that. I want the line unbroken in a way where I am in control, but I'm in control of all these little parts, and I want to put them together in a certain way. But the line isn't really like that. The line's not linear, the line of life. And I'm trying to tell my left brain that just come back to this moment. Stop worrying about all your abstractions and come to the concrete. This is what God, this is the face of God right now. And my only, like, if God could create the whole universe and he says, oh, this is good, who am I to say, no, it's not? He could change things. Like, it's not, it's in my best interest to go, yes, this is good, as soon as I can.
Well, um, creation
Mm-hmm.
sparks even from the dialogue between right and the left,
Mm-hmm.
all in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm not really a good judge on it because I kind of enjoy the dissonance in between those two halves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sometimes I just bridge the gaps with humor. I make them laugh at each other. I can see
That
what, yeah.
I mean, that right there sounds like Ian McGilchrist. Have you been? He's
Oh,
kind of been. They talk about him on some of the things. Have you read any of his stuff?
no,
You
but I
rec
will check him out.
you recommended to me a book called Master and Margarita.
Yes, Bible
I wanted
Believer.
to recommend to you a book, The Master and His Emissary.
Oh,
The
thank you.
It's by Ian McGilchrist, and it talks about the left and the right brain. The master being the right brain, and that's the one that understands humor. So if I'm laughing, then the master and his emissary are talking, are communicating, and things are being righted. If I'm laughing, and yeah, that that's probably a huge subject that I shouldn't start a tangent on. Maybe we should stick to the lines. Right there, where, right where you wish you wrote for millions of followers, where you wish you wrote for millions of dollars, where you wish you had a different face, wish you'd never played that game, wish you'd learned to fight in school, that you hadn't been such a good girl. Right there again, just being right now and accepting that, where I wish I wrote for millions of followers, that wish, that desire, that's my fuel. And what would I, if I had $1 million and didn't have that, would I pay $1 million for that? So that's my $1 million. Um, and 1 million followers. Um, you know, even as I'm talking to you, I'm actually talking to a plastic and glass box. Like I'm experiencing a personality, but that is the personality is probably not in Poland. The one that I'm interacting with, what I'm interacting with is something that my mind is creating, that God is giving to me through my mind. And so 1 million followers, if I had 1 million followers, that wouldn't add anything to this place where I am the observer. I have all the the personality that I would project onto a million followers, I have already just by thinking about them.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
That's beautiful. Your mind replace a little image of a person sitting made out of pixels. So we are basically hurdling pixels back and forth. My mind is
Mm-hmm.
recreating you. You're over there. You're not inside my head. My head is painting
Mm-hmm.
the picture of a person, of a human being,
Mm-hmm.
of a consciousness, and
Mm-hmm.
and you are recreating me in your head. We both create each other right here, right now. Even for the million followers, we would recreate them in the head as
Mm-hmm.
well. Amazing! I love it.
Thank you, thank you. That just seems to be what I'm trying to get at. Yeah,
We are
and
back in Plato's cave, basically.
yes, that's it. That's it
Shadows.
exactly. Yeah, that is. I mean, and to in Plato's cave, like where am I? Maybe it's different for you, but where am I? If I ask myself, where is this happening? Where are these pixels getting to me? The Andrew Huberman, one of Lex Friedman's good friends.
Big fun.
He
Yeah.
he has a quote that I'm putting at the top of my one of my essays. It's that the time and space. He says it, of course, better than I can, but basically says that there's no, I'm seeing your face. Well, I'm seeing pixels that are shaped like your face. In my brain, there's not one area where that shape is. And yet I am seeing that shape. There's no, I'm looking at the shape, but my brain does not have that shape in it. So where am I seeing it?
Mm. And even more, all your past experiences are allowing you with exact precision imagine all the details that you see right now. You can actually be pretty accurate by only seeing the image in a plastic box that kind of uh, gets in shape. By hearing the voice that comes through you through a microphone, you're able to recreate the 3D image of
3D.
me already
Yeah.
in your head. And
Yeah.
like you can imagine everything already. It's amazing.
That is, I mean, that seems to be along the lines of what I'm saying. And it seems like what you said, Plato's cave, we're back to Plato's cave. Like as you're looking at me, or as you're looking at a screen. But behind the screen, what's beyond the screen? What's on the other side of the screen? Like you see the room,
A door. Yeah.
a door, and then your visual field that all this is happening. Is it like right now? Observe like the peripherals. Like mine is kind of oval shaped. Is yours like what shape is your field of vision? If you stare at one, pick like Andrew Huberman suggests, pick a point on the door and just stare at it.
It's
I don't,
definitely eye-shaped. It's the same shape as it's oval.
but you're looking out of two eyes.
I know. That's bizarre. I think I have one eye that is dominant. And I kind of because when I close one eye and the other when I close one eye, nothing moves. But when I close the other, everything jumps a little bit. So there is one dominant eye, and the other
That's
eye just fills in the gaps somehow.
well, the point I'm making is
Mm-hmm.
it has a shape.
Yeah.
What's outside of that shape? What makes it that shape? The the light comes in and it hits the light receptors in the back of your eye, and it gets split to all these different parts of the brain. And then it gets put together somewhere, like in a movie theater or something, and you sit and watch the screen, and the screen has a shape.
I'm recreating everything in my head, basically.
I guess this is my pet project, is this Plato's cave. So I could just go on for hours and hours about it and maybe not make any sense, because that's the reason I'm writing these essays, to bring to formulate my thoughts so I can communicate them better.
People's perception, and not everybody recreates the same thing. Like people notice, people have different projection, different past, different experiences, and they will shape the perception filters that are here, let's say. And then if you talk to another person about the same subject, you both will fill in each other's gaps, not to change your understanding, but to enrich your existing understanding with new information. So another person can tell you how the Plato's cave smells, and you're like, oh my God, it smelled all this time. And like you get different dimensions. Everything is a perception in our head, and what we find as valuable is still a recreation of a thing we find as valuable. And what is important is being, not having. So this where I wish you wish you had a different face. Like you are in your face, you don't see your face actually at all. Like why?
Yeah, like are you kind of, it sounds like you're referring to, I was just going to bring him up because you mentioned it being in our heads, the Douglas Harding, and he has a series of phenomenological experiments that point out exactly what you said, that I have never seen my face. And he calls these, his whole practice, being headless. And so what you said a few sentences ago about how everything is being recreated in my head, what Douglas would say, and what this is how I'm trying to find a way how to talk about this, because this is exactly where language breaks down and it gets and you can cut everything out that doesn't make sense, which will be a lot of it. But that it's not happening in my head. In my experience, it's not happening in my head. Like in my experience, like he asks, look around the shape of my visual field. Do I see any kind of pink, gooey, wet stuff? Like my brain? Like the screen is not in my head. I'm not looking at my eyes. I'm not looking at my eyes. I'm floating in what appears to be eternal, infinite space. And my visual field seems to be floating in it. And so it's a theory that it's happening in my brain, in my head. But in my experience, as things present to them, if I inspect them, all these sounds, these body sensations, in this visual field are all happening in a perfect void. And if I can identify with that perfect void, then I can accept everything. Not in like a human way, but in like it's like coming to God. So it's like a perceptual access to God. And I wish I had a different face. I had your face right now. Every face that comes to me, that's the face of the world. And so the line is, you wish you had a different face. I do. Always. I just never have my face.
The seer behind the eyes is consciousness. And consciousness is not in the brain, it's outside. It's the thing that pays attention. I know people laugh about him a lot, don't take him seriously. Deepak
Douglas Harding?
Chopra. No, not Douglas Harding.
Oh, Deepak Chopra. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I know people don't take him seriously, but he explains it pretty well.
It's a problematic area just because that's where language breaks down. Because I'm basically talking about nothing, like literally nothing.
Well, it's not
Like the
nothing.
void, but the void, it's not a thing. The void is, it has no beginning or end. The void.
Have you?
And it's the same in religions. They say, don't name God. In some religions, they're like, don't say the word of God because you get confused. You start thinking of God as a thing. Or they're worried I would get confused, which I do.
I wrote about abyss, the creative nothing. The light would be the consciousness. So if you get into the void and you bring a thing out of there and you shine a light of consciousness onto it, that's the creation. So the chaotic, dark nothingness, and if you just shine light even at parts of it, you kind of materialize things. But it was a kind of metaphysical interpretation of the nothingness, of the void.
That's exactly, that fits like right with how I'm looking at it. The void.
Yeah. A lot of people were calling it the divine masculine and divine feminine, when feminine would be this dark chaos thing, and the
That's how I look at it.
masculine would be the light that shines. But when you combine the two, that's how creation
It's the child.
comes.
It's the child. Yeah. They're the ones that bring the mother and father together, or it's the one that brings the mother and father together. That's how I see it as well. It's the being the holy child. That's my awareness. That's what brings the void and being together in this moment. Yeah.
Consciousness. Creating another seer who can understand things, who can interpret reality and live on.
Right now, you know how it aches when any little shame or fear spells it. Heaven reappears and you can't help it. You know how it aches right now. When I have shame or fear, I'm like, it feels like it's going to last forever. When I'm in shame and fear, or when I'm depressed, it seems like it's going to last forever. But heaven reappears and I can't help it. Like it is all in the world. Like you said, the universe changes. But in the perspective of the world being inside of me, there's no change in that void. If I can connect, that's what Douglas Harding's experiments perceptually put me in touch with that. No concept can hurt me there. Like no concept can shake that perception. And at the same time, any concept can, because as soon as I get into the concept, then I come right back to the world of change and thinking, and this pain is going to last forever. So I fear I'm spouting nonsense because this is where language breaks down.
It makes perfect sense. Actually, I get it.
It makes sense to me if I think of nothing as being real. Like this nothing that my vision is in, this nothing that these sounds are coming in and out of, like perceptually, to get in touch with that and go, that's more real than anything in the world. Because it's eternal. It never changes. And everything happens in it. It's more real in one way than the world. Not as a concept, though. As a concept, I think it's silly. So maybe I should not even talk about it.
Well, perceptually, it's all there is. It's the seer behind the eyes experiencing things. It's the consciousness. And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
idea, like for you, it's your reality. For me, it's my reality. But the two of us, we cannot with 100% certainty confirm that either of us actually exist. Maybe there is like everything is
It's all theoretical in some in one
yes.
way. In one way, yes, yes. In another way, though, that brings me like if you like stare at do what Andrew Huberman says and stare at that spot on the wall or a spot like right here and look at your peripheral vision, like if you allow your eyes to rest
Mhm.
and if you look around, not in the room, but what the room is appearing in, this empty space, I see the same thing you do.
Mhm.
It seems like we're in the same space because when I cast, not look around with my eyes, but when I look with my my awareness, and I listen, like if you and I were uh, both watching a movie, and then we called each other and we were like, "Hey, where are you?" And we were like, "Okay, look around. The theater's absolutely dark.
Mhm.
I can't see anything. I can see a screen. It shows something different, but everything else about our experience would be exactly the same, except for what's on the screen."
Mhm. Oh, so the thing beyond the point, around the point, the thing
Mhm.
we don't pay attention, the blurry lines would be the same for everybody else. That's what I mean.
Beyond the blurry lines
Or
is the
beyond the
same.
blurry lines. The thing out of perception.
Mhm.
It was when you said you kind of look with your peripheral vision like there slightly above the horizon, but it kind of seems like you would aim your eyes. There was in neuro-linguistic programming, there was a way to reprogram your brain like that, actually. So if you want to do a proper visualization, uh, that's where you look at,
Mhm.
basically, and not down, not up, above the horizon, similar to the movie theater, like as if, like, depends how like, there are different theaters, of course.
Right. Yeah. My thing breaks down there. I was gonna say, oh, we would be in the same place. We wouldn't be able to tell we're in a different place
Mm-hmm.
except for what's on the screen. But my idea is that we are in the same place. Like we have exactly the same environment at one level,
Mm-hmm.
which is that perfect void. And that's the Christ that connects us. That's God who connects us, is this nothing.
I get it. There are many names. It's linguistic thing. There are many names. People say God. People say Christ. Some people say the source. Somebody
Mhm.
says some other word. But the truth is, there is something that connects all of us. There
Mhm.
is there is there is that unexplained commonality. I personally believe God, but there are people who believe other things.
Mhm.
Like, eh, not to discourage people who do not believe in God. Just pay
Mhm.
attention to what you're. Do not get scared away by the word God, please,
Mhm.
because sometimes you will throw away the actual meaning behind the words.
It's a confusing word. Or
Yes.
that's why I think that's why I like to think that nothing connects us.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's right where language breaks down or else turns around. Like nothing connects us in that sense. The void connects us. You wish you could get on the line with people, your heart a block wide. Wish you had a few choices more than being just a tease or a whore. Right now, you wish you had a different face. Wish you never played that game. You wish you'd learned to fight in school, that you hadn't been such a good girl. You wish you could forget the score. Stop banging on the same locked door. Wish you had a few choices more than being just a tease or a whore.
I wanted to ask you about it. Here,
Yes.
you wish you had learned to fight in school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was kind of talking about Mia. She,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I related to it. And so I kind of put my own words on it. But
Mm-hmm.
so I don't think it was her words, and that you hadn't been such a good girl.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just regretting that there's regret that I didn't stand up for myself.
Ah.
And I think she shared it as well in different areas of my life. And the the regret can sometimes make me overcompensate and become defensive or even offensive. And if I can be in the center of the circle, like Joseph Campbell says, or, be present and bring the void and the world together, then I realize there's nothing to defend. It's many times it's better to just come back and be the observer and to see what I do, to not try to pretend I have agency over um, how things, what other people think about me. And, learning how to fight in school, all those things were lessons that I can learn from right now. So I did learn to fight in school. Like that was my lesson. I just didn't turn in my homework yet. Right now is the time to take the lesson and realize that, and to nurture faith, to nurture faith, and like Vervaeke says, to maintain reverence. Like that's where the game's played. Yeah.
Mm.
And that you hadn't been such a good girl. Uh, I wished I hadn't been such a good boy. My wife was singing it. But I related to that in that, I wish I hadn't just obeyed. I wish I had taken more responsibility for myself earlier. But right now is the only time and place I can do anything about that. If I everybody, the story of me doing things wrong, that's not, that's either coming to me as a regret, or it's coming to me as an opportunity to learn. And um I don't think I don't do that well trying to figure things out and go like, what's the right thing I should do for this situation. I do much better if I ask, what should I do? Even if I ask just myself, I mean, I'm still talking to the void. And then to wait with awe, not curiosity, for what's the piece of the puzzle, the piece that will solve this puzzle, because maybe I'm completely misperceiving this puzzle. But to bring the divine into it, and to ask, to pray, and to just say, please guide me. Then being a good boy or good girl, fighting in school, deciding which game to play, that all becomes put into the perspective of, how does God look at it? What's God giving me right now? What's the opportunity?
Hmm. I was thinking about the punchline, the moment that everything makes sense.
Mm.
Uh, and the moment where we regret not being a good boy or a girl at school.
Mm-hmm.
At some point in my life, this is my personal projection
Mm-hmm.
onto those lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Not, I realized if I had been a bad girl at school, I would
Mm-hmm.
not be here today. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how my life would turn out, but it would not be me in the chemical composition that I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like there was no other way. It should have been this way. It should
Mm-hmm.
have been, otherwise that whole moment would not come. And who say it would be better? Actually, nobody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you think your life would be much better being a good girl at school, boy at school, you don't know that. There is always something else going on, some other plan, I guess, or maybe
So
not.
it seems like, well, it seems like even if things looked the way I want them to, it it would do me no good unless I took the agency of saying, of approving, of accepting right now. And so am I going to make the same mistake I did in that story about back then and just go like, oh, things should be different. I'm not going to accept reality for the way it is. I'm still going to try to force my fantasies into just being, or am I going to actually do the only thing I can do, which is to say, okay, yes, these are the options I have. I don't have any of the other options. Maybe they're the options that I would want, but those aren't actually options. That's like I can put the word option on it, but it's still not an option. I only have the options I have right now. And I only get them if I thank God.
In the environment, when people have no choice, again, my projection,
Mm.
I felt there was kind of empowerment. I have only
Mm-hmm.
this one option to act. Like, my only option is to survive. And here is like my brain calculates this is the best way to survive.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in that environment, you are living up to the best of your potential. But when there are different roads to take,
Mm-hmm.
bad girl or a good girl, there are two options. And then you take the good girl option, you still think, did I make a right choice? What if there is an obstacle here that made me feel
Mm-hmm.
like maybe that was not the best choice? But there was an argument, is our free will so free?
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps we just think there was an option to be a bad boy at school, and we can wish for it all we want. But the way we were educated, we had no other choice uh, other than to be the good boy or the good girl.
It sounds like that gave you the being put in a corner like that gave you clarity of and cut down on stress because you're like you didn't have to decide,
Mhm.
didn't have to. It took away all the doubt.
Exactly. It kind of all made clear what I need to do,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to be like, well, that's it. Just do the best you can right now.
Clear
Not that
hierarchy.
many options.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, clear
Yeah,
hierarchy of what you need to do exactly.
yeah. I mean, I wonder if we always have that clear hierarchy. So this is what I'm getting out of this poem is that I don't know if it's true or if it's true for everybody, but that I always have that clear hierarchy. available to me. Like things are always this simple, accept things as they're presented and say yes if I can. And if I can't, ask God, please help me. Like that's never been a bad choice for me. Like when I was 11 years old, I had a traumatic experience, and I was going through like an event that I didn't want to be going through, and I didn't really see an angel, but it felt like there was this presence in the room that was like that was telling me I will always be with you. And I said, I didn't have the words for F off, but that's what I would have said. I was just like, I just said, if you can't help me right now, you can get out. And it went out the window. And I've realized years later that that was all, it never left. It was my openness to it that left. And that every situation I've ever been in, grace is there to take the wheel. If I let go, if I can let go. And I've never had this prayer turned down. Like, please give me guidance. If I can say those words, like say them in my mind and go, please give me guidance. Like it becomes clear that there's something else in charge. So I mean, it seems like it's always that clear that I can ask. Like that's always the best thing to do. I can't think of, I could be wrong, and I'm open to it. Maybe these words only make sense from a certain perspective, but it does seem like I can't seem to think of a circumstance where that wouldn't be the best thing to do if I have any kind of doubt or agitation.
You can ask for the right answer.
To ask. Yeah. Because if I'm asking, that the brain works in a different way. My left brain loves to give answers. It thinks that's how it gets points. And my problem is if I'm trying to get answers. But if I live by asking a question, especially a broad, open question like Vervaeke talks about, of being in wonder, that's never been. I have so many times in my life where I've been like, oh my God, if I would just have, and I'm probably going to have a whole bunch more moments like that in my life where I wish I had done that. But at any rate, whether it's true or not, that's the thing that this poem anchors me in, is that, asking how is this an opportunity, or to give me guidance, presupposes a benevolent universe, which I think we were talking before we started recording. You said it's a matter of faith. Einstein said it's the most important question every person must ask themselves is the universe friendly? And that's a great, if I ask that question, it seems like it's a special question, because if I look with one pair of eyes, the universe is not friendly. And in the next moment, I look with another pair of eyes, the universe is friendly. then if that's the most important question, then how do I get more often the answer that the universe is friendly? To me, it seems to be to assume it is and to say it is. If I can't say it and believe myself, then I need to work on my integrity and or ask the universe to guide me, to surrender to it and show me, are you friendly or not?
I mean, universe is everything. It both.
Everything, yeah.
At the same time, it changes all the time. Even the unfriendly part or friendly part, all of it is being shaped, and that integrity thing seems like a control. So we are steering to the integrity part of the universe. It's like depends where we go. We can choose. At some point, we get enough freedom, even financial freedom, to be in safer environment. Let's say not to stay in the middle of war somewhere, but to be on an island and just like walk and just look at the waves and stuff like that. We make choices, but at this moment right now, for somebody else, the universe is really friendly, amazing, the highest moment of happiness. Somebody else on this planet is suffering right now, all of it happening at the same time.
I'm looking at it. I see what you're saying, but I'm there's another. I would say the universe is always changing, and I would say that that is true in the world, that someone is suffering while someone is not. The level that this poem anchors me at is the level at which I am in the world, but just as true that I'm in the world, that I'm sitting here in Silver Lake, California, where incidentally Leonard Cohen used to live up a couple miles from here. Yep. And but just as true is that the world is in me. Like if I say, so you said that someone is suffering in the world.
Yeah.
What are you referring to? That
So
seems
there is another consciousness that right now experiencing from their cave, let's say, they experiences the unfriendliness of the universe, and we, from our consciousness, we can either focus our attention on that and kind of let their suffering be recreated in our brain, or we can choose our own creation or connect to the being of pure happiness and just like let that recreate in our head. It's like we are the people who decide which movie plays in the head. Even more, we are the writers, and we can give other people different movies for them to play in their head. The creators, the singers, the writers, poets.
That's right. That's right. There's only the world. The world is just is just never going to be perfect. Like everything I do in the world has a positive and a negative effect. Like there's like I can give somebody $1 million. I can't give anybody $1 million, but if I did, it would cause them as much problems as it solved, more maybe. And but that's all theory. The thing that this poem gives me is that I need to constantly allow the world to be as it is, to see that, to understand that there's this theory and sometimes this very direct evidence that people are suffering. And at the same time, that's all happening within perfect peace, like perceptually, not like aside. I need to put the theories aside because it's a theory that someone's suffering, even if they're in front of me. Everybody has been hurt. I used to box, and when I would see somebody punch in the face, I'd be like, oh man, that hurts. It hurts me. But when I'm punched in the face, many times there's zero pain. I don't know what the other person is going through right then. I'm like, when I see them punched, I'm like, oh, that's going to change their life. They're going to be a little bit dumber. They're going to be dizzy. But that's all. That's a story. Like the thing that's happening to me when I'm being punched is, here's this perfect piece taking care of me. I hear a crack. I see a flash of light. I don't have time to suffer. And it's absolutely true that people are suffering. And for me to do anything about it, I need to step outside of the world and look at the world from this actual perspective of being in the cave. And that's where I can understand everything, but I can't do anything there. Right now, you know what it takes. Right now, when pictures of the world start flooding in, you're trying not to take, but you're losing. The two last lines were, for me, I haven't been able to assimilate those into the meaning that I get from the song and the poem that I've been talking about up to now.
I mean, relatability, story, as an artist, as a performer, when I say something, like when I would rewrite somebody else's lyrics, I would put my own spin on it, because I think that is relatable to me right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if right now I'm losing, that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And this song would speak to people who feel they're losing, and they would feel not alone. They would feel heard.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that.
I get that.
Banging, stop banging on the same locked door. That is my favorite line, because you see, there is this regrets, things that already in the past. You wish you hadn't been this, you wish you hadn't been that, you wish you, like, you repeating that. And repeating that to yourself, it's like trying to open up a door which is already closed. You can never open it up again because it already happened. And when you kind of keep reliving it in your head again, recreating it over and over again.
That really spoke to you?
Yes, that spoke to me. That actually hit hard. I was like, I've been there. And that's the state of losing, when you keep being in the past of the things you don't have, being in the, I wish I could have this, I wish I could have that, I wish I was this, I wish I was that, instead of, like, there is so many open doors over there.
It sounds like that picture really pulled together a meaning of the whole song for you.
Yes.
Yeah, sweet.
That's my projection.
Nice. Well, yeah, that works for me as well. I like that because it's such a concrete example that can, I love poems and songs when they can just pop into my head to give me the lesson without, a whole bunch of thoughts. And that seems like one of those lines.
Yeah. That poem, that song, it speaks to so many issues that I personally had in my life.
Mhm.
And people, please check it out. It's amazing. You two are a great
Thank you
team.
very much. Thank you. I really, I really appreciate you having me on. It's been a pleasure talking with you. I hope we can talk again sometime. And it's inspiring to see how much you put into the podcast and all your different podcasts, and that you're gonna, after this, edit this and stuff. It really makes me want to step up in lean into what I can contribute to the conversation. Thanks very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing it. It's amazing. I love it. And this podcast, as all my podcasts, had been sponsored by Free Time. People, try to get some. Please check out all the links below for Mia and Karl. Like, subscribe, follow, and generally show support. Everything. See you in the next line by line.
Free time.
Yes.
I get it. I get it. I was gonna write that down. Look up free time. Ah. .com.
I always like how the new guests are surprised by Free Time.
I like it.
And